we go. What's up, everyone? This is B the Installer. Hey, FOMO's there. He's about to jump on here. He's still commenting on his other video. For those of you guys who are going to be jumping over from his premiere on the QD-OLED and OLED conversation. So what's up, FOMO? How you doing?
Hey, good. I'm ready to go. And today's a great day. I really do want to address all this brightness because this is kind of started with ratings, right? And I should have looked at ratings before, and we'll jump into it. I wanted to say hello to everyone. Thank you for watching my premiere video. I wanted to experiment to see those of you who catch the video and are chatting. And I have so many more questions. I thought, what a great way to send you all over to the live stream so you could continue asking questions, because honestly, there's no way I can get to all of it on a premiere in chat, right? And I could speak so much quicker than I can in chat, and I can give you guys images and all that. So yeah, welcome to another.
Sorry, I don't think it worked. I got forwarded to an older live stream on your Stop the FOMO channel.
What?
The QD Samsung S95 versus A90J Live.
Gosh, I am so sorry.
It's all right. People will find us.
This is like technology miscues. Like, what the heck is this?
Maybe other people got sent to the right one. I don't even know. I'm pretty sure I was watching your video and it went to that one with you and Brian. So who knows? People will come. Eventually they're going to realize that one's not live.
I know, right? I feel terrible. You know what? That is so weird. The chat link work. Okay, so yep, the premiere video screwed up. I'm sorry, guys.
It's all good.
Okay.
Ooh. And people will come. People will come. It's all good.
All right. So those of you who are joining us today, I wanted to start off with kind of brightness overall. And it's led by the theme of LG, once again, improving its brightness, and specifically another 20%. And so let's just say, for the sake of argument, right? Every year, LG or Sony or Samsung, they keep on adding an extra 20%, 30%, 10%, right? Year after year. Eventually, we'll get to 2,000, 3,000 nits. But here's the issue, and this is the biggest issue for me. We'll start with just OLED in general. There is a hard cap on OLED as to how bright you can get. When I say hard cap, I don't mean bright white. I'm sure OLED can get super bright white, maybe even 5,000 nits, but there is no color between 900 nits and 5,000 nits. It's white. And so this leads me to I need to have discussion directly with ratings. So I'm going to add this real quick. So this is QN90B, right? It's not an OLED TV. It's amazingly bright, right? HDR brightness 9.3, very high. Look at that. 2,117 nits of 2% window, which for a QD or a QLED is very bright. Normally at 2%, it doesn't hit 2,000 nits. So this is great. But then you look at the real scene highlight, 1,700, which is very good. And I thought, wait a minute. 1,700 nits in a real scene, that's unusually high. As a matter of fact, I don't think there are many movies that hit 1,700 nits graded. So I decided to take a look at, well, what exactly is this real scene highlight? And many of you already know the answer, right? Because you guys do your ratings thing. But let's look exactly what is that real scene. And this is the issue we have right here. So this is ratings, real scene highlight. So I screenshot this, but basically it's like a 10-second video clip of this very room. It's just moving left and right? And it's the two white panels, and it's literally white. So this outside image right here is exactly what you're going to see. The inside image is the heat map of the relative brightness. And then inside that inset is me decoding what all of that means, right? Meaning, so everything that is either black to blue is shadow detail. From 0 nits, which is perfect black, all the way to 2 nits, that's light blue, right? Shades of blue to black are low shadow detail content. Then everything between 2 and 100 nits is green or blue to green, right? So blue to green is your SDR, midtones, skin tones, right? And then yellow is your highlights. And then the red is like the super bright highlights. So if you look at this scene, everything between green and yellow under 1,000 nits, and that's fine. The challenging part is the red. This is above 1,000 nits. Okay, but look at the color. It is white. We're talking about here and here. So this could be 1,000, this could be 2,000, 3,000. All I know is that it exceeds 1,000 nits. So everything below 1,000 nits is here. It has color. You got some reds and some yellows on the tables, right? But then this is pure white. So what does LG have to do? All they have to do to beat this ratings measure, this real scene highlight, is focus on getting that white as bright as possible, and then they will win the real scene highlight scoring, right? And it made me stop and think, wait, QD-OLED, their brightness is in this table where it's slightly beige and yellow, or the gray silver below the TV, right? So if this was super bright, the QD-OLED would render this more accurately. However, the only things that are bright in this entire scene, only two things are these two panels, and it's pure white. I was hoping maybe one of the panels would have yellow, orange, blue, green. It doesn't matter to me. Have some color gradient in there that's graded brightly, but having a pure white, basically, this scene falls into the trap that both LG and Samsung do so well. When they say they have 2,000 peak brightness, in this case specifically, we're talking about the Samsung, right? So I'll bring the Samsung back in real quick. Samsung's 2200 pure specular highlights is pretty great, but unfortunately, here, let me put it back up here. Oops, here we go. Boom. Okay. So let's look at this again. 1,700 nits real scene highlight. So basically, that real scene highlight is that white panel. How many movies have a pure white? Very few. Like if you watch Godzilla, King of Monsters, you have the sunrise, sunset. It's this yellow where Mothra is coming out of the cloud.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yellow.
For like 10 seconds.
Right, for 10 seconds. So it's supposed to be yellow or whatever it is. But if you watch that on this QN90B, you have the QN90B has two choices to make. If it goes color accurate, it will not be 1,700 nits. I guarantee you that. It'll be closer to 1,000, maybe 900, maybe 1,200, if you want to see that yellow. But if you go into standard mode, into dynamic mode, it'll get 1,700 nits, but you're going to get that pure white and nothing else. And so that leaves us with the question, bright for its own sake is a problem. And a lot of consumers, when they say, I want a brighter TV, what they really mean is, I want accuracy and brightness, meaning like Mad Max. If the sand in Mad Max, the sand scene, is demanding 2,000 nits in that sand, I want to see the yellow sand at 2,000 nits because that's what the creator said. But if the sand is only asking for 800 nits, then 800 nits it is. It doesn't make sense for the TV to push the sand to 2,000 nits. The creator didn't ask for that. And so at some point, we have to ask ourselves, brightness for the sake of brightness beyond what the creator intended is one thing. But then bright white, I doubt any creator is putting out a movie where, we're not talking stars, the star field, yes, that could be 10,000 nits, the tiny stars, right? Let's throw that out for now. But everything else that's not a supernova white is not bright white. And it's very limited in scenes where you need pure white at 1,200 nits. So this is something that we need to discuss with ratings about their real scene highlight. If that real scene highlight 1,700 nits is specifically those two white panels, right? That's a problem. But maybe I'm off. What do you guys think? What do you think, Brad?
I don't really like, I mean, I guess I haven't been able to quantify or to like verbalize why I don't like it, but I don't think that that's a very good representation of like what a movie would look like. Having two big white patches on a movie that are like each at least, those are probably like 5% to 10% windows, those two spots. And so I don't know. I feel like it's not going to give a very good like real scene for an OLED. And I think everything's kind of mismatched. It doesn't, maybe I know it's not I don't have the right answer, and I know Ratings is doing their best, but I think maybe they pick up a scene from a movie or something, or a couple, and they average out you average out like 3 different scenes and give it a score. That way it's like 3 scenes from movies going forward in HDR, and those 3 scenes are the same ones for every single TV going forward. And that way it gives you a better representation, because real scene brightness is like going to be completely different depending on what scene you watch. And so you're just giving one number for one clip, and it's hard to then say, okay, now the G2 is the brightest thing ever, you know, for like an OLED, you know?
Right. Or since it's clearly an LED panel, maybe run your RGB panels at 2000 nits, or you could go into post and artificially raise it in post, blue, you know, and just have multiple panels. You know, this is blue at 2000 nits, whatever, because that is definitely helpful for the consumer to know that, okay, I see your white hit 2000 nits, but what about the blue? What about the red? What about the green? What about the orange, right? And I know it's a lot of work, but then Ratings, man, you guys are so good at what you do, but 5 years have passed, and I think the TVs have caught up to what they're doing and are now gaming their system. So I just wanted to let them know that if I was LG and I had the micro lens, and all the micro lens did was make everything a little bit brighter, which is great, because if your yellow could be a little bit brighter, but at some point, the 20% is really going to be hitting hard on the whites. So I think across the board, all the colors will be 20% brighter. But more importantly, it might allow them to push the whites a little bit harder as well. And we shouldn't give TVs extra points for a brighter white. They need to get extra points for better color volume, which is really the weakness of OLED, WOLED right now. And it's not that bad, because WOLED wins shootouts all the time with lower color volume because its contrast is so amazing. Nevertheless, QD-OLED has all the benefits of OLED plus the color volume. And so the A95K, are you getting it, Brandon? Because suddenly it gets us to that part of the discussion.
Yeah, I am. Give me 1 sec too. If you guys can smash the like button. Thanks for stepping in. What's up? How's everyone doing? I know FOMO's coming straight from that video, which is awesome video. Cool. You know, I watch like all your videos, and I feel like I learn something every time. So I like your content, and I'm sure everyone here does as well. So smash the like button, and, you know, ask us questions too throughout. Obviously, you guys feel free to ask questions. And yeah, I'm getting the A95K. The problem is I'm starting to become an S95B like defender, FOMO, because I'm getting, I know, but I'm getting all these comments from people that are like saying that Vincent has ruined this TV for people. And it's like, you know, I don't care what he puts out. That's fine. But like, it's not accurate. It's gaming the system, or it's not going to be as good as the Sony A95K. It's just like, dude, the Samsung QD-OLED is fantastic. I don't care what anyone else says. So I love that TV. And, you know, obviously there's a little bugs in the Tizen and whatnot. You know, you can fix bugs out. And I got, you know, hammered mostly for the QN90A review that I did early on, because, you know, it got better and better over the year. But when you review it early and you make your recommendations early, it's on, you know, it's on Samsung to have that operating system working sufficiently and have the bugs out. But they don't yet. And there's a couple things. It's not like the Vizio OLED where it never, you know, just the Vizio OLED was very difficult to use. I like the Samsung QD-OLED. I think it's awesome. And I'm going to, you know, definitely keep it. And I think the Sony one, the Sony version, the A95K will be a Sony version of it. I don't know. Do you think it will be, do you think that they'll push it as hard as Samsung is? Do you think it'll be similar? Or do you think it'll just have like, its little Sony benefits and differences, you know?
So this is such a good question, because it segues not just okay, let's talk about the A90J, right? When it got the heat sink, we all thought, wow, it'll be super bright.
1500 nits, right?
1300 nits on Vivid,
but no, I'm saying, but it didn't hit that for real.
No,
like,
not even close, right? It's, as a matter of fact, it was barely brighter than the C1 and barely brighter than the G1, and that's where it stood. And then the G2 is significantly brighter. And like, wait a minute, then what's the heat sink for? Well, it does raise the APL and does raise the brightness in certain HDR scenes better than the G1, but it requires that content. But here's the problem with the G2 that Classy in his live stream discovered, and I thought, I never stopped to think about this. So get this, Brandon. Imagine your 83-inch TV. It puts out all this brightness, but that requires extra electricity. Your power, the PSU, right? The power unit is limited. What if it was the same PSU as the C2? What's the point of heatsink? That means the heatsink is not even being used. They're giving you an amazing TV, an amazing panel, and a heatsink, but they're giving you a PSU that's throttling the exact same way a C2 is throttling. And so unless you have a more powerful PSU, that 83-inch is actually being held back.
It's like a limiter. It's kind of like when we talked about like the QN90A last year and its dimming algorithm versus like the QN900A, where the 8K just felt more unleashed. You know what I mean? Because it had more power consumption. It was like it was unleashed, where the 4K was more limited. You know,
so the word unleashed is so good.
Yeah,
and I understand why they do it. Obviously, you have European, American, Californian. You do have power constraints on consumer products. I respect that. But then you do not need a G2.
Yeah.
Skip
then the G2 it's basically like a wall mountable version of a C2. You know?
And yes, it's thicker. I mean, okay, I get all the physical characteristics, but the image improvements, I think, minor at best. I mean, it's possible they may pull the C2 back a little to let the G2 separate itself. But the reality is, when you have the same PSU on the C2 and the G2, and the brightness is limited by the PSU, you have an issue, because now you're not fully extending the use of the product. So as you get larger, keep that in mind. Your PSU may be limiting. So maybe this micro lens makes the difference. So let's go back to the micro lens. If you have the micro lens, you don't put out any more power, it can get brighter. And so it's possible next year that only the G2 gets the micro lens so that it can get brighter without expending more energy. So it could use the same PSU as the C series and be rated less energy, but with a micro lens, boom. Now it's separating itself without having to spend more energy, because currently the only way you're going to get more brightness is you spend more energy or you're on QD-OLED, a more efficient technology. So I see what LG is doing, and it's smart. But for those of you getting a G2 83-inch this year, just keep that in mind. I'd say save some money and get the C2, unless you really need that G2 size, thickness, wall hanging gallery, right? I don't think the $1,000 difference is going to get you what you think you're going to get. Already the 65-inch C2 and G2 are very similar, unless you have the content that pushes that G2, right? So at the 83-inch, it'll even be more similar. Something to think about.
And also the C2, the 83-inch C2 is it looks the same as it was last year. It's not like a newer panel anyway.
Yeah.
So, oh, you guys all right? Oh, sorry. Jen brought me my water, but there was like doors blocking doors. Thank you.
Corey has a good question. Do you guys think the A95K, that's the Sony QD-OLED, will have the power supply to push the APL higher than the S95B? So the short, easy way to look at that is, as soon as the power ratings are out on Best Buy on the A95K, and it may already be on the Sony website, I have to check, just compare the two, same size, right? If it's plus or minus a couple of watt hours or whatever, then probably not. But if it's a bit higher, then probably yes, because you know that the goal of all companies is to keep that wattage as low as possible to get whatever benefits they get from a low-powered TV. So yeah, if you look at the consumer energy thing, then we can see the difference there. I suspect if the PSU is more powerful, it'll be reflected in the energy rating. So we'll see. I haven't checked though. That's a good question.
Gio Torres has a question here too, just on.
How's upscaling on the C2? Upscaling what? So if the G2 and the C2 are the same processor, which they are, I love low bit rate content upscaling on the G2. It looks to me better than the A90J because it preserves HDR highlights, or if anything, it elevates the HDR highlights so it looks even better on the G2 than on the A90J. The A90J literally just improves the resolution and it kind of stops there, whereas the G2 adds a little bit more. Now, some of you may not like it, but it looks HDR. So what I did was I ran Aquaman at a super low 480 resolution on my Panasonic, and I sent them to the A90J and the G2, and the resolution went up. However, on the G2, all the bright details, better contrast, slightly brighter, and to me, that preserves the HDR effect. On the Sony, it literally just increased the resolution, upscaling it, and it did not make it look better because we're at 40p, right? Anything you do should make it look better. And the G2 did a great job with that. So for low bitrate content, or for a content where, let's say, Netflix has to drop you down to 720 or 480, the G2 does look better. So I definitely love what the G2 did with upscaling versus the A90J. The A90J just literally upscaled it, did nothing more. So it depends on what you guys want.
Yeah. Crazy. What you doing this weekend? Anything crazy going on, or just work?
Yeah, I was hanging out all week last week, no videos, so I'm behind. So I have to put out another video sometime. Well, this weekend I'm going to be recording another video and then putting it out this week and then get caught up. So I'm about a video and a half or two behind because I try to get out 2 per week. Yeah. And this is my one, and it's already May, so I'm already
hard.
One, right? Yeah, it is, and you have to get up for it. You know, it's kind of like I already know what I want to do, but sometimes I don't want to call it burnout, but you're like, I don't have the energy. I cannot go in there and just blah 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 go through the motions, right? I need to feel it, so I take a day off, I work out, whatever,
That's the real thing. I mean, when we make the videos, but I sometimes Mondays for me are like I can't get going, and then it's like Tuesday, Wednesday, and then all of a sudden Thursday, Friday I like push, and it's like like last night we did 2 videos. I didn't launch the one on my other channel because the monetization is taking too long. They haven't monetized it yet, so right. I'm ready. It's applying for it, but it's taken like 4 days so far to do it. So I'm like, well what's the point? Like, what's the point of putting out the video? Yeah, like a good Tesla video where I show like comparisons versus Tesla versus gas powered car and like go through all of the details. What's the point of doing that if it's not monetized? Because I just have to wait a few more days and then put it out, But yeah, like I understand your pain, and we did the e-bike thing. I did an e-bike, and I don't like to take products from people because then I feel like then I have to make a video for it. Yeah. So like I like to do my own thing, get my own products, buy them, whatever. But I took those e-bikes and then they made me put it on my big channel, So then it's like I knew it was going to not do as well, and I wish it was on the consumer channel, but I was like, whatever,
you make
the video. Both. Yeah, I will. I'm going to put another video on that one too. Yeah. I'm going to do another one, but it's just like it's just like people were commenting like, that's cool, but why is it on this channel? And I'm like, I know, but they're really cool bikes, man.
I have to say, I respect you so much for running 2 different channels. I kept on debating and I just can't do it. I mean, I'll put a few things on my main channel that may not be exactly TVs, but the second channel is just too much work to commit, Yeah. So I'm still debating. We need to clone more of ourselves. I think Tech has a great comment here that I think everyone has to think about. Tech with KG says, I still think it'd be a mistake to buy a C2 or a G2 in a 55 or 65 inch this year because the S95B and the A95K come in the 55 or 65. With the quantum dot existing, I think people would end up regretting that. And so this goes to wait to Black Friday, get the S95B. I have a hard time also recommending it, knowing that S95B is only a few $100s more than the C2 and nearly exactly the same price as the G2. It's hard for me as well. What are your recommendations at this size?
I mean, I agree with him 100%. Like, if it for me now that I've seen it, I haven't seen the G2, which the G2 looked pretty impressive when you had them up on the board behind
Oh,
you.
yeah, it
That
is.
day, it looked more impressive than the A90J as far as like how bright it was. That's all I could really tell is the
Mhm,
brightness from here.
mhm.
But I mean, for me, right now, the S95B is $1,000 less than my A90J was when I bought it. And I think it's now the same price or similar price. So, and it's definitely better. There's no question. I mean, I think it's just the efficiency of the panel. And again, people talk about inaccuracy. Like I watch YouTube TV and I watch basketball and I watch like shows like Seinfeld.
Right,
Who gives a crap about like the tiniest margin of error on the accuracy? When I'm watching Dune, it looks so much brighter. I'm like, this is awesome,
right,
And
right,
so I don't know if the fire is supposed to be orange or yellowish, but I know that on that Samsung QD-OLED, it looks amazing. Like just like
right.
it's one of these things that I'm like starting to beat my head against a wall at because it's an awesome TV. And it's like I wanted a Samsung forever because I really like the older QLEDs. And this is the answer. It's like I did not think this year a Samsung OLED would be my answer.
Hey, you and I remember we were talking about
I
this.
know.
Do you want to get the QD-OLED from the now? Do
I
you want?
know.
Why don't we just
I'm like,
split it in
no,
two,
you do
right?
it.
No,
Yeah.
you get it. No, you get it. And it turns out, wow, it's
And
awesome.
and that was only like a week after they announced it was even going to be a product. Like we didn't even think you made a video like where Samsung wasn't going to be a product until the fall, right? Like it
That
just came out of nowhere.
out of
Like
nowhere, and it
yeah,
shocked the world. Hey,
that's
let's get a
awesome.
super chat. Hey, Sean, thanks for the super chat. Hi, hope all is well. Sorry for asking an LCD related question. Hey, don't apologize. Classy has said last time when I asked Z9K or Q900B, Sony color gamut not as good as Samsung, so he prefers the Q900B. So that's the case first. What's color gamut? Oh, great question. Oh, this is so good. So color gamut. Basically, how many colors can the TV display, right? So if you have a rainbow of colors, the larger the gamut, the more of those colors. And when we talk about gamut, we're talking about more extreme colors that is beyond, let's say, green, not just green, but this fluorescent green that you never see anywhere, or not just blue, but this extreme level of blue, right? So your eyes are able to see all these shades that the camera cannot capture, nor can your TV display. So Rec 709 is the smallest gamut that you'll see on YouTube. And then you go a little bit larger, DCI P3 has a bit more color, which is what most movie studios use now. And then beyond DCI P3 is BT 2020, which encapsulates even more of that color. The question is, if you have all this additional color, but your TV cannot show it, are you losing out on color? And what I've noticed is brightness is more important in terms of pop. Just what you said, Brandon. If you're watching Dune and you're looking at the sun, and that sun is like sunshine, and the yellow is subtle, but if it was to be BT 2020 accurate, it'd be a deeper yellow. And then you have a TV that does have the deeper yellow, but it cannot get as bright. This one punches you in the face because you have that bright yellow against a dark shadow. Here, you have a deep yellow against the dark shadow. Which one works? Here, the creator wanted that brightness, so this TV chooses to go bright but lose some of the yellow. Here, the creator also wanted that deep yellow, but the TV cannot do the deep yellow. So instead, it pulls back on the brightness to give you the deep yellow. Emotionally, for this scene, where is the creator's intent? I would say in a sunrise, the creator wants to punch you in the face with that sunrise. But others might argue, well, it's that subtle gradient. There's a mood involved. And that's where we are right now is a lot of these TVs, Sony, they are known for pulling back the brightness so you can get all the color that the TV is capable of. LG, out of the box, pushes it a little bit harder. You might lose some of that color, but you're getting that punch in the face out of the box. And there is no right answer. So back to you, Sean. Color gamut. The Z9K, instead of going for accuracy with wide color gamut, they're going to punch you in the face with the brightest, smallest windows you can get. And this in a bright room actually works very well. Z9K in a bright room, you have all of this ambient light, noise, and the additional color gamut could be irrelevant because you're fighting to get attention from the bright windows around you. The QN90B is giving up, or is actually wanting to capture more of the color volume, but giving up the brightness. So depending on your priorities, there's no wrong answer. So for me, assuming that lifted blacks are under control on both TVs, in a bright room, I'd go with the Z9K, mostly because I do enjoy that punch in the face in a bright room, because it's hard to get, right? In a dark room, great, easy. OLED does the trick. But in a bright room, you want that contrast plus that extra headroom up here, which the Z9K will deliver.
Does he like, and you like that more than the QN900B for 8K or whatever? Or you're not really sure either?
I'm not sure yet, because I'll be getting the
900B. Yeah.
The question is it going to strike me more than the S95B? Because it's more expensive. So here's the thing. The QN90B is a few $100s more than the S95B. And at 65 inches, forget the 8K, right? You're not going to see that. Why would one pay $300 more for the QN900B over the S95B? It could be for the audio, because the S95B does not have the same level of Q symphony. So we're talking about the whole package. What you're paying for the Q900B is a lifestyle TV that, it's thin, it's got the one connect box, it's got the better audio, it will integrate better with their entire next generation Q symphony wireless system. And that is, I think, what you're paying for, not necessarily a better image quality. Because if you just look at the image, just go with the QN90B. Same image. Well, no, I take it back. Q900B has more dimming zones, and it should get brighter, but I need to test that, because that in the 75 and 85 inch, yes, it's brighter. In the 65 inch, that's something that we have not seen from their 8K TVs.
Yeah, it'd be weird too, because last year the QN90A was like looked like it was dimming. It was dimmed, didn't have, in the darker scenes. This year, the 4K looks really bright and it doesn't have exact as good of contrast. So I'm interested to see the Q900B and see how, good that one is. The people are commenting. There's a few people that have just said that they don't see it worth getting the S95B over things like the C10 and things like that. I mean, if you go from one side, the same size to the same size, I would agree with you that it may not be worth it, because like C10 OLED is still one of the top TVs. I mean, it's like an 8.8 out of 10, while, even a C2 is now an 8.9 or a 9.0 out of 10. So you still have a great TV, but I definitely would say there is a noticeable difference between them.
So this is such a good question. I would say this: if this is your first OLED, don't waste your first on the S95B. The C10 would dazzle you just as much, because you're going from such a bad TV. Let's say you have a 5-year-old TV and this is your first OLED. Definitely get the C10 and you'll go, wow, it's so much better than my 5-year-old Vizio. Now, if you're going from a 5-year-old OLED, then go with the S95B. So it's kind of like you've owned a Porsche for 5 years. Now, are you ready to go for a hypercar, McLaren, Ferrari, where so much has changed in the last 5 years? Or do you go for another old Porsche, right? Because it feels the same, you're comfortable. So with TVs, if you're used to a certain performance, now you have to raise your game. But if you're used to a very low performance, you don't have to raise your game that high. Just going to a C10 will get you so much closer to the S95B without spending the money. I think the S95B are for those who have owned OLED and are waiting. Should I upgrade now? Is the heatsink make a difference? Answer is no. The heatsink does not make a difference, or as much of a difference that I had hoped. And on the G2, it makes some difference. I saw it, but I wouldn't sell my A90J for the G2. I would for the S95B, but not for the G2.
And here, Refurb82, thank you for the super chat. Awesome, man. Appreciate it. Your call, same thing, S95B for $3,000 or G2 for 26. That's a tough call as far as the costs and everything, but I haven't seen the G2, so I can't say, specifically what to do, but they're I don't think there's really a wrong answer there, but you could probably get either one of those, or wait for the prices to go down,
or wait for the 77-inch and spend even more. I would say this refurb, if you've never owned an OLED before, Black Friday will get you a less expensive G2. So instead of 2,600, it'll be likely 2,300 by Black Friday, whereas the S95B is unlikely to last until Black Friday. Most likely the price sell out, and it probably will not be discounted too much, maybe 2,800 if it lasts until Black Friday. So if you're just your first OLED, go for the least expensive one, because you'll still get that amazing color and punch and contrast. And then on your next upgrade, get a 77-inch QD-OLED in 3 years for about the same price, right? So definitely. Hey, Sean, thanks for that super chat and follow-up. If color gamut is important, on the QN90B, 85 inches available in India, Z9K is not released. The DSC is going to be a problem. I should have mentioned that.
It could be. I mean, it probably will be a problem.
Probably. The Master Series, less likely to have DSC. So something to think about, but you don't get the Z9K. It's still not released. I'd say if you can afford the Z9K, what you're paying for is Master Series level binning, where you're less likely to get DSC. I'm hoping the QN900 does a better job with DSC this year, but I got to tell you, Sean, history is not a teacher when it comes to large size Samsung TVs. It's definitely a crapshoot. So if DSC is something that concerns you, the Z9K statistically is probably going to give you a better shot.
I wanted to highlight this one comment real quick. Oh,
hey, look at that, Brandon. You're killing it, man.
Yeah, that was because FOMO was laying on a hotel bed, so he really couldn't do much.
I was literally like this.
Yeah,
chatting on my fingers.
We both host. I mean, FOMO has more informative information. I'm just comic relief and the practical guy. What's up, Max? This is pretty funny. Give him the mic. Mic drop.
Give him the mic. That's right.
I don't know, man. I think as a viewer of other people's YouTube videos, and I haven't gotten to watch a ton of YouTube videos, but the ones that I have been like on these S95B, and I've watched a couple of the live streams that like Classy and KG did, where they were kind of having to defend the position of this too, and I'm just like, that's a lot, and it's not like it's a huge controversy. I mean, maybe one or two YouTubers are like whatever, but it's not that big a deal. But it's just like it's a good TV, and it's a new technology, and I was pretty excited for it back in January when I saw it, and I'm glad it's definitely like an upgrade, and people are seeing that, at least maybe not this one for them, the S95B, but it's going to be around and it's going to be an improvement,
And we have to remind everyone that we're seeing this as a beta project, first adopter. It is literally the first generation of an all new technology where quantum dots have replaced a color filter. Never happened before. It's very exciting for us because we expect so much. And a lot of people who are looking at color accuracy, those are important, but the hard part is getting more color volume, getting more color gamut. That's harder than color accuracy, because color accuracy, they could tune it. They get it eventually. WOLED will not get greater color volume, will not get greater color gamut. It's stuck. All it can do is get brighter without color volume, which leads me to this very important question. What is the difference between gamut and volume? So color gamut is the actual color themselves without any light. But let's not talk about brightness, right? So if you're at, let's say, 50 nits, what is the color you see in SDR? Well, that's not even a good analogy. What is the color you see at where light is not important, right? Now, as you increase the brightness over 100 nits, 200 nits, 300 nits, the TV technology is unable to hold on to that color. So at 800 nits, you're not going to get deep red. You're not going to get deep blue. Everything will be slightly washed out. That's color volume. And what QD-OLED is trying to do is, as you get brighter, all those colors continue to be there, and it all gets bright together. So if you look at a fluorescent red neon sign, low color volume makes that neon sign more pink than red. High color volume, if it's supposed to be red, it's going to be this bright, fluorescent red. And that's what volume is. It adds that third dimension, which is brightness, right? So if you see color volume graphs, you'll see the gamut as the two-dimensional, and then third dimension is brightness, and that's where you have the nits, right? So as you go up in nits, it starts to level off, and then above 1,000 nits, there's almost no color. Above 2,000 nits, that's it. Just white. Hopefully that explains it.
And there was another question. It was, I can't remember what it was now. Might have been.
Oh, here I see it. Is it right here, CJ?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. It was a different.
Here.
Go ahead. I was just kind of talking to myself. No, go ahead. Do your thing, man.
Okay. Yeah. I just want to go in order. I think CJ.
No, you're good.
Okay. My room is like normal lit, and the QN90B was super bright. Also, HDR was brilliant. Also, a tube light is on mostly to watch TV. Sean, if you got a QN90B and it has no DSE, hold on to it, because there's no guarantee that the Z9K will have no DSE. All TVs have some level panel lottery. It's just what's the yield, right? Some are better than others, but if you have a QN90B that looks great, hold on to it, because 85-inch anything that's not an OLED, it's rough to get a clean panel.
I found the one that I wanted to highlight real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
And also, by the way, I would just tell him, like, honestly, it sounds like the Samsung QN900B is something he'd want to get, and I would be down with that. Just get it. I think you're going to be happy with it. I think it's going to be a great TV. The dirty screen that we talk about, like, if you don't see it, if you don't have it or whatever, TV is going to be awesome. So that's going to be like a top tier TV. And then RJ Double here just mentioned the question we answered before on last week, I think, which is like getting a larger, and I addressed this in my QD-OLED video today, that if I had to recommend someone getting exactly this situation, a 77-inch, WOLED or a smaller QD-OLED, I would get the 77-inch C2, as long as it's not going to be too big, which I don't think it can be at 9 feet, because it's just so much bigger. And like, if you have a 5 or 10% benefit of the QD-OLED in color and in brightness, when you have a TV that's 30% bigger, the 30% bigger brightness is just going to win,
I agree.
Yeah.
And you have an upgrade path, right? You get an amazing 77-inch, and then your next upgrade will be a 77-inch or 83-inch QD-OLED. So the upgrade path is there. Things will definitely improve and get cheaper for QD-OLED. You're going to get a great deal on a 77-inch C2 on Black Friday. I think that's definitely worthwhile as well. 9 feet is far enough that 65-inch to 77 to me is a difference.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Did you do this one already? The one about the C2? Okay, go ahead if you want.
All right. Thanks, CJ, for that super chat. 83-inch C2 or 83-inch A90J. Dude, isn't it crazy that they're the same price? Would you have thought this last year, honestly, when it would start at $9,000?
Well, yeah, I mean, because the C2 is more, I mean, like, I get it why they are. I mean, they're both great TVs. I still think the A90J is better. Like, I had the C2 here, the 83-inch, and I compared it. I have a video on the CJ. Check it out. I did a video on this exact thing. I had those two TVs up against each other. And at the time, I thought the Sony was more expensive, but maybe it's now the same price. But yeah, wow. If you're able to get one of these TVs, I think you're going to be pretty happy either one.
If you do any gaming at all,
yeah, gaming,
you gotta go with the C2, right? Yeah. It just makes it that much trouble-free. You're either when it comes to two TVs, the same price, you're either a Sony fan or you're not. With a Sony, I like the Remotion for cinema, but fast-moving objects where there's a blur, there's some artifacts on the Sony, which I don't mind because the stutter bothers me more. Other people hate artifacts, and are willing to put up with a slight micro stutter. It's your call, CJ. If you cannot stand micro stutter like me, get the A90J that you can deal with the slight artifacts, or get the C2, slight micro stutter, but very clean, no artifacts during motion blur. So it's just something to think about. I know the C2 is a great TV. Seeing it head to head against A90J at Valley Electronics, I would go with a less expensive one if I have no loyalties, just because you're going to enjoy both TVs, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a no fail. Like, I know you know, Chana has the C1, I have the A90J, and we're both extremely happy with them.
Yeah.
And he games on his, so I don't think it would have been a choice for him to get the A90J. And I believe at some point Brian Whisper Status also said that he wasn't going to get the A90J exactly because it didn't have the gaming chops,
Right.
and for that size and everything, he wasn't interested in it. So it makes sense. And yeah, this is funny. So oh, this is a different one. My bad. Two different.
I was going to say, when you mentioned China, so he has the S95B now.
Oh, yeah.
The question is he going to throw his other OLEDs out the window?
Well, the question is he going to keep throwing his S95B on the ground?
Oh, that's right. Does it have a crack? Is it covered by insurance?
He said it's good. He said he pulled a brand and he dropped his he flattened down his S95B onto the carpet. I hope on the carpet.
I have to say, when he said he pulled a brand, and the first thing I thought was, oh, he has a hot babe on his channel. It's like, no, I broke my TV almost. Love being a reviewer. Hey, Samael Goel, thank you for the super chat. For HDR games, where you can control peak and full screen brightness, QD-OLED seems like a better option than WOLED. Well, the hardcore gamers we have on this channel, which is KG and Classy, as well as Brian, they hands down prefer the S95B for gaming. It's just there's so many intangibles. VRR is knocked out. The motion, everything, they love it. They love the peak specular highlights. So far, the S95B appears to be the gaming TV. Unless there's a game that maybe the G2 is better on, let us know. But it appears that for console gaming, at least, S95B is a solid choice. Now, PC gaming, we'll wait because that's a whole other thing with its own compatibility issues with different GPUs, and then you guys can let us know. But PS5, Series X, the S95B has that slight edge in HDR and some of the motion stuff that I've heard. I like both, by the way. I have no preference. I think they're both great, but the more connoisseur gamers out there are telling me the S95B is what they would choose. So yeah.
Well, and then that's the HDR gaming. That's why I thought another Samuel put up a question about this, which I'll jump out of order and we'll get back to the other comment. But Samuel said I will die on this hill. The LG OLED SDR gaming experience is a disgrace. Dull and dim. I know some don't mind, but I think many do and don't speak up. And then that's pretty funny. And then KG said, preach on. Like preach.
So this is such a great comment because I think Classy put it best. How is it that the S95B in SDR gaming, you put it on full black frame insertion and it's still brighter than the WOLED? And that's all you need to know. The S95B is that good where you could put on black frame insertion, which normally cuts brightness in half, still brighter than WOLED without any black frame insertion. So that tells me that alone makes the S95B a really good gaming TV because BFI, as many gamers know, they love the motion on that, but it's just too dim. And a lot of people, they need it to be a little bit brighter. So if a lot of your games are SDR, S95B with BFI, I mean, with it off, it's definitely bright. But with it on and it's still brighter, wow. So yeah, great comment there.
Let me comment real quick on this. CJ is having some issues with the TV mount, or here, let's just answer all these questions because he did a super chat and we found it. But for anyone getting a TV mounted, $250 is fine for the installation. You don't need a $250 mount. There are options online that are similar to this. Like they have ones that do 3 studs that are way less than that. You can get one off mono price for like $75. There's a monster one on mono price that's like for extra large TVs that can hold like 200 pounds. You don't need to hit 3 studs when you mount a TV. Even if you hit 1 stud in the middle of a mount, it would be sufficient. An 83-inch, if you want to hit 2 studs, that's good. 3 are not necessary. But the point is you can mount it off center and make a mount that's hits 2 studs work. There's a ton of options that are $100, $125 or so for a TV mount. And any company that says they'll only do it for the certain mount because that's what they want to sell you the mount that they probably paid $50 for it and they want to sell you a $250 mount. So do some research. They're probably not being dishonest or anything. It's just that maybe they're not as experienced as they need to be in order to like install it properly because it doesn't need to hit 3 studs. TV, that's just someone that doesn't know as much about what they're doing. But
that would be me. That's why I hire a professional like Brandon.
Yeah.
I do not want to deal with studs. I don't want my wife saying to me, you should have hired a professional. That's why the TV's on the ground. I never want to have that discussion.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, you really have to screw it up to have your TV hit the ground, but you really have to suck at it. But yeah, it's the point. It's just a lot. It's a lot of labor. I mean, there's a reason why that I've kind of moved to making YouTube videos over installation of TVs, is because even me doing them all day long, every day, it's a lot of work, man. So definitely, find a good company. I always tell people, check Yelp. Or if you're in a different country, a review site where people have good pictures and they're experienced at doing the exact kind of work that you need.
Or we've had this discussion with Tech and Classy. If you are a Best Buy Total Tech member, it's literally $50, guaranteed, insured by Geek Squad. They will come in for $50. If you have the mount, boom, they put it up. You could buy it with Best Buy or buy it off Amazon. They don't care. That's why I'm a member of Total Tech. It's for the guarantee. Because if they screw up, I call them back. Oh yeah, we'll fix it. Whatever.
I mean, but that is the guarantee. They'll come back and fix it. But there's definitely no guarantee that they are not going to be experienced and screwed up in the first place.
Yes.
And Best Buy, they do not necessarily have like super experienced technicians. Like, I've been doing a business for 15 years and can run circles around the people at Best Buy. So I'm just saying, like, it's definitely cheaper and a good deal, and they'll, Best Buy, they'll fix it or whatever if they make a mistake. But I don't know the statistics of what they do as far as mistakes, but I don't really have anything installed by Best Buy.
I'll tell you, I'll vouch for that. I've had what I thought was a high school kid come by, but he has his senior there, so I get the phone number of the guy. I'm like, dude, I'm just going to text you directly.
Right, please come.
And that's what he says. He goes, look, text me anytime. I'll fit you in my schedule if you want me, because if you let the system do it, they'll send it out. If he does it, he'll schedule himself for you. So if you do Best Buy and you find someone that comes by that you really like, get his cell. He has his Best Buy cell, and you can text him. He can get in there. Now, if you find someone you don't want, then make sure you tell Best Buy, I don't want that guy, because that also works as well. But that's a really good point. I keep on forgetting about that. And hey, Cairo, thank you for the super chat. Just finished installing my old 900F at my dad's place. And wow, what an upgrade the S95B is. So 900F is the older Sony LCD TV. And yes, if you're going from an LCD TV that's like 4 or 5 years old, dude, this is amazing, right? Seeing is believing, folks. And if you're going from a 900F to a G1, by the way, I think 90% of that wow or 95% of that wow is there. So yeah, well, it's overkill with that. And I wanted to put this up because give it a balanced argument. I am more like Buddy Love. I game on my A90J all the time. I've never had a game optimizer, and I don't think I need it. See, that's me, right? I am not a serious gamer. I put on Switch with my kids, Series X, PlayStation 5, the basics, right? Miles Morales, excuse me. Only time I notice issues is when I put in a game that's challenging, and I know for sure there are stutter issues like the Elden Ring. Then I see it on the Series X, and with VRR on the A90J, oh, okay, it's smoother now. So I don't need the game optimizer either. As long as the A90J had the VRR, which it does now, it's also fine. So I don't mind recommending the Sony for casual gamers, Sony OLEDs for casual gamers. It's the LCD TVs that is, not good.
Here, I wanted to put this up real quick. I didn't make a point in my video that I wanted to make, and I'll just tell people here because I think more of like the more TV enthusiasts are in this chat versus just on a typical video or whatever. But first of all, Eric Larson says, why do you need so many nits? Even B, the installer, said last night he lowers the brightness on the Sony A90J in his living room. I don't lower it on my living room. I lower it in my bedroom TV. The 65-inch, I will have it on, the auto ambient mode or whatever, where it will lower a little bit, because my wife, it goes to bed earlier than me and gets up earlier. So, it's like super bright in a black, in a pitch dark room. And so it's not like I don't need it full brightness. But I will say that one of the things that I really like about the S95B is that I think that they have like the best ambient, like their whatever it's called. It's like adaptive brightness, I think. is amazing on a Samsung. It's always been pretty good. And like, I have had multiple Samsungs, and when you're in a bright room and then you turn the lights off, they do a really good job of like reducing the luminance, but retaining the quality of picture. And I feel like that's something that I didn't necessarily test, but now that I have this S95B in my bedroom, I feel like I don't even notice that it's darker, but it's far darker because it keeps the color looking perfect. So it's like my Sony A90J, when it got darker, I couldn't see anything. I feel like I was like, you know, I feel like the TV is like handicapped, versus when the Samsung S95B is darker in my bedroom, I forget that it's darker. And then when I hit the like ambient light thing off, it's like, holy crap. But either way, it looks like my eyes adjust to that more appropriately. And like in the A90J, it feels like it's dimmed down, and you can see it's dimmed and gray, and it doesn't look as good. So that may be part of what you were speaking about with the Gamut and, you know, all the color volume and all that.
That's very good. I didn't even think about that, because I normally turn off all the ambient features, because I always assume that it does a bad job, because I've seen the early generations and they were terrible. But maybe I should give the S95B a shot. Now, this is my choice for quote of the day. This is just laughing out loud. Richard, thanks for this comment. I tried to use my stud finder, but I think there's something wrong with it. It keeps pointing at me.
I have like 6 videos where I'm like going like this with a stud finder and it's beeping.
Stud finder is all me.
It's kind of like a running joke for like contractors.
Hey, Adrian, so this is the problem with YouTube reviews or YouTube videos, and mine included. When you capture OLEDs, LCD TVs, QD-OLED, it doesn't matter. Your camera captures the biases of the TV technology completely differently. So if I see an OLED and I see it's perfectly white, my camera sees a blue shade in that white. I'm like, what? And then on the S95B, to me, it's pretty accurate. The camera has this, it pushes the red even more. I mean, out here, it looks red, and here it looks even redder. So now your camera is like this super blue OLED and this super red S95B, and nothing looks good. So oftentimes what many of us do is we adjust the white point on the camera, but if you adjust for one TV, then they don't want to screw it up. So you have to capture it separately and then put it back together in post. And then we're accused of kind of changing the TV settings or whatever. And so at the end of the day, Adrian, we are limited by the video capture. That's why it does not look the same on YouTube. Listen to what we say though. So I'll be saying, oh, this looks this looks that. It's very hard. You have to see it in person. And also what I see, if I'm hypersensitive to blue, you may not be. You may not see blue at all, right? A color blindness of individual shades and hues, very common and very different. I might be sensitive to pink. You're not. My calibrator was very sensitive to pink. He hated WOLEDs. He only saw pink every time he saw a white OLED. I didn't see it. So yeah, it's something to think about, but don't rely on the misrepresentations of any YouTube video capture. It just ends up not being very accurate. Thanks.
And additionally, also, YouTube then downgrades the quality of our videos too. So, so there's that. And it's like I just had a comment in my S95B versus A90J video where people are saying that the Sony A90J looks better. And, I'm like, dude, if you guys were standing next to me, and even if you're looking on my computer as I'm editing it, it does not. I guarantee you the A90J does not look better. So if it looks better on YouTube, it's because, like you said, the video can't capture the dynamic range of the S95B. That's all there is to it. There's 0%. So that's why I'm sitting here saying the blues look better, the the green and the all the colors look better. And then people are like saying the A90J looks better. And I'm like, okay, well, that's just what it is. Like, I can't, I'm telling you what I'm seeing, and I'm telling you it's not better, but I love
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
That's right.
So it is what it is.
That's I love it when people argue and debate over YouTube video comparisons. You really have to see it in person. That's why I try to make sure that I narrate and talk about it in just different scenes. But sure. Nothing replaces in person.
You're a good storyteller, so that's always good.
We gotta be a storyteller.
Keith Jordan, thank you for the super sticker. I didn't see a a question or anything. I maybe just, you know, a very
It's a tip
polite
jar.
person who's generous. So thank you.
Yes, thanks for generosity. Absolutely. Are we caught up in questions? We want to make sure we catch everyone.
There's some more coming. Oh, what's up? Rainer's in the house. There you go.
Brandon, the other Brandon, huh?
No, Rainer. I said Tech Med.
Oh, here we go.
Rainer.
This super chat because you saved him $175.
Yeah, man. Save that money.
It all day long.
I could make videos to save people money on installations. The problem is that, you know, a million people will watch one video, but you know, I can't get 50 to 100,000 people to keep watching installation videos all day long. So that's why I started reviewing TVs.
You know, that makes me laugh. You have those channels. I don't know if they're still popular, but maybe 8 years ago, you had women putting on jeans. Does this fit? Does this fit? Like 1 million views. Like, how many times can you watch a woman put on a pair of jeans, man?
Yeah.
But hey, it worked for them, right? I should do that. FOMO puts on jeans.
Well, you know, it's funny because I was messing around with my thumbnails, and I have Jen in my thumbnails for the unboxing videos, but I put her in the first one from a review that I did. And it's like mostly me, but she is in the beginning helping me show the unboxing. But I put Jen in that thumbnail, and I think it hurt because more people clicked on it, but they watched it for far less. So you had people just check. Right. So it's like, I don't want to have clickbait kind of thumbnails, but so I just was like, nope, for the reviews, it's going to be me and the TV like normal so that people understand which they're watching, because I want them to gain information from them. Some is entertainment and some is like, you know, actual review.
Well, you know, if you can script Jen.
I'll just let her do the review.
Then you just have to step back and be the video guy, and now it won't be clickbait, and you'll kill it. People
are telling me that Jen's going to replace me soon after my bike video. I'm like, hey man, I'm all for it. Like, if she wants to talk in the videos, I'm down.
Right?
I'm down.
This is a good comment. Hey Richard, thanks for that. I read that you know, I have to say, now every time I see Richard, I cannot help but think that there's a stud finder pointing at him somewhere. I cannot unsee that. I read that the majority of people don't want to spend any more than $500 on a TV, and this is why TCL is the number 3. I think they're the number 3 brand in the USA, right behind Samsung and LG. I think they may have surpassed LG, but definitely they are up there behind Samsung, because TCL, great value for $500. Is probably the best TV you can get for $500. Sony doesn't have a TV at $500 in the 55-inch, right? Their cheapest last year was still over $500, the 80J last year, and they don't even have that this year. So TCL is killing it with its 5 and 4 series, and I recommend it all the time because it works. So yeah, a lot of people, it's a huge upgrade to break $1,000, and here we are talking about $3,000 TVs. So we are a small group, guys. Oh, just saw the super chats. Let's hit it. Sean, thank you for this. People often say, why you got to wait for 8K? I say to them, after you have a QN90B type TV, you can't go back. What do you experts have to say about it? The punch they give that no one can. Sean, I have to agree. At the 8K shootout, now 85-inch, we're not talking 65, we're not even talking 75. At the 85-inch, it's not the 8K that punches you in the face, Sean. It is Samsung stuffed all their best QLED technologies on the 8K TV. It's not the 8K. It is the additional dimming zones, the larger PSU, right? It's just a more powerful TV. If they replace that 8K panel with 4K, you would say the exact same thing. And that's the unfortunate part. They're trying to conflate this amazing performance, contrast, brightness, black control with 8K. 8K has nothing to do with this. 8K just means more nits. I mean, sorry, more pixels. More pixels is just more resolution. It's the more dimming zones on the QN90B. It's the more powerful power supply. It's everything that's not 8K that made the 900A and 900B better. So in both Samsung and Sony's case, their 8K LCD TVs are stuffed with their best technology, their most dimming zones, and it just happens to have 8K. That's it. But you are right, though. Those TVs are their best, and you cannot go back from a flagship. So maybe we should say, Sean, once you go flagship, you can't go back. S95B, flagship OLED, can't go back. A90J last year, flagship OLED, very hard to go back. So that's why I tried to review a couple of budget TVs, and the minute I went below the U8, U7, U8G, because a lot of people consider the U7G still too expensive, I couldn't do it. I tried one budget video and it killed me. It hurt my heart to review that. I was like, oh, all these TVs are so terrible. I don't even know how to choose which is the least worst. Hey, Tech Man. Oh, you are here. I know we are not in the same time zone as you. Thank you for staying up, my friend. Hey, Brandon. Hey, FOMO. Hope you're doing well. Let's enjoy awesome TVs. And here's a man with a QN900A, 85-inch. He's going to hold on to that for a long time.
Yeah, he loves it, man. And he should. And I think he's got the Ambio or the,
and the Ambio, right?
I think he has the Ambio as well. Yeah. What's up? How's it going, Rainer? What's going on, man? Thank you for the chat, man. I appreciate it. What someone had? Oh yeah, you were just going down the list.
I was just going down. Yeah, just
yeah,
jump.
You're good. No, you're good. You're good. I keep thinking I need to do something, but we're both doing it. What was that last one? What did it say?
Oh, just throwing it up there. Hey, Brandon. The other night I was going to sleep. This is about you. The A90J being too bright.
Oh yeah.
The light switch. Light was already
real.
It was from the S95B. That thing is a light cannon. Yep.
Jen, she wakes up in the morning, or she wakes up at like 2 a.m. and thinks it's like 6 a.m. because it's like the TV was still on. Even the A90J did that, but I mean, definitely this one, yeah.
Yeah. And for those who speak German, that's for you.
What
does that mean?
I have no idea. I don't even.
I didn't even take high school German.
Yeah, I took Spanish, and I'm glad I did in the Southern California area. I speak some Spanish. I'm not bad at it, but I'm still not great at it. People that are bilingual trip me out. Right. They're so awesome. It's so awesome.
And just a reminder, Badzilla, remember, it's not the 8K. It's the flagship that you saw in person. That's phenomenal. I would never get an 8K like TCL low end. I mean, that makes no sense at all. It would have to be 8K stuffed with the best technologies. Then you're looking at the best technologies, and the 8K just happens to be there. So yeah. Here's a good one. All cameras make the S95B look worse than what we see in person. Y'all have to take our word for it and see it in person. And it's all over the place. Ice matte. So the camera aside, so this brings up a whole other set of issues. You have some reviewers, and I forget who, a lot of people new to the YouTube review space, welcome everyone, but they put the thing in vivid mode and they compare vivid against vivid. And I'm like, I don't even know how to comment to that, right? Because that's how I like to watch it. But the S95B, maybe its vivid mode isn't great. And if you're buying a TV based on vivid mode, you have to realize that's what you're seeing in that review is a comparison of vivid modes, right? So
I want to say something because this is this. Oh, you're good. You can put it up, whatever. This is the best way that I can explain it. I was thinking about this. The S95B to me looks like when you review a QLED and you get like the HDR content that looks great on a QLED, that's what the S95B looks like. It looks amazing and QLED-like for bright scenes. And then when you watch something that's challenging for a QLED, like with a Starfield pattern or something that's like really super dark, it looks perfect like an OLED, but even brighter. So it literally is getting the best of both worlds. And for your typical SDR, like TV shows, it may not be quite as bright as a QLED, but there's no blooming, there's no issues, there's no dimming zones, and there's no dirty screen effect, which is something that you can't say about any of the OLEDs or QLEDs. So it's just a lot of positive,
I love what you said about the Starfield. So we're used to the white Starfield. Imagine a rainbow Starfield, bright red, yellow, blue, right? So the QD-OLED will preserve some color in that rainbow Starfield. On an OLED, it would mostly look white, right? With maybe a touch of color, but that would be the best way of comparing it. Yeah, that's Starfield. We need to do a colorful Starfield, right? Hey, Sergio, this is a great comment. S95B, would there be a higher chance of more image retention or burn-in since the pixel pushing more brightness, and with that brightness, more heat? So Sergio, actually, this is something Vincent did. He noticed that there was slight image retention, more so on the S95B than on the G2. Now, the G2 has the heatsink, and the S95B doesn't. Now, image retention does not necessarily mean you will get burn-in. However, it is there. The A95K has a heatsink. Maybe it will have less image retention because, well, it has a heatsink. Now, whether or not it's a higher risk for burn-in, that I don't know. We don't know. I mean, maybe not. I don't know.
I can give you the spiel that I heard from Samsung Display Marketing, which was there is still a potential. It's still an organic material, but it should be less than in typical OLED because it is a more efficient blue light, and it's going to be, you know, not wasting as much energy. Therefore, they don't have to push it hard to beat WOLED. So that's kind of what they said. Just you're not having to push light as hard. You're pushing and losing more light in WOLED. So, you know, I don't know how many layers are the WOLED. Are there 3 different layers producing white? Okay, 4 different layers.
Oh, sorry, WOLED.
WOLED to white, back to the color filter and all that. I'm just saying, like, you just have blue light in the QD-OLED, just blue light pushing, stepping down through a quantum layer in order to get the other colors. So just that blue light should be more efficient in making those colors. That's what it is.
The color filter is inefficient. You lose a lot of energy going through the color filter on the WOLED. The QD-OLED doesn't use a color filter. Quantum dot.
It does not use color filter. I mean, the quantum dots technically are, they're just you're refracting light to change it to different colors.
It changes the blue energy into other. Now it has a filter, but that filter is it's a more efficient series of layers. Let's put it that way, right? But yeah, it's just next generation, and it'll get better. Here's a great comment before we get to the super chat. I think of my parents. Once you get a nice TV, it's hard to go back down. You notice the picture differences. Granted, my parents still have trouble recognizing DVD and Blu-ray, so maybe it's an age thing. I see myself getting there at some point. I mean, fortunately, I see enough TVs that I see the differences. But for me, it's a hearing thing. I cannot hear above a certain frequency anymore. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to review anything in audio anymore because above that, can't hear it. It's like dog whistle to me. So
you know, I have I tried to give my dad an OLED. I tried to buy him a TV, and he's just like, "Don't buy me an OLED. I don't need it," because all he watches is golf. And we go back to, he's got like a, I think he had at one point had like a $400 65-inch Insignia TV, and it does what it needs to for cable, man. I mean, it's just like, it is what it is. They don't care.
Yeah,
they just want to watch what's on it. They don't care how good it looks, you know. And it looks fine. It's like I think it's an older LCD or even maybe a plasma. I don't think it's a plasma. I don't know.
Well, you know, when you go to a hotel, you turn on the TV, it's fine. You're watching,
right? And it's always like an LG, a crappy LG. Yeah.
So this giant room, it's a 40-inch TV, and the whole family is gathered around, and the bed is like 8 feet away.
That's a good point.
Like, oh, it's fine.
Well, but I'm like, I can't see a damn thing. It's too far away. My thing is the vision. I can't see. I mean, I can see TVs because I'm close enough to them, but my vision is not as good. I have contacts, all that.
Yeah. It's like, which glasses should I wear? Hey, Cricky, thank you for the super chat. Installing an 83-inch A90J next week on a wall mount. Do you recommend putting it on its feet first? Only 2 people are doing it. So this is all you. What do you think? What is the strategy, Brandon, when you have an A90J?
I mean, like, if you don't necessarily need it, I mean, if you're just wall mount, you just put it on the wall. I mean, if you want to see what it looks like, put it on the feet. But for me, when I go to a job, I don't put it on the feet first and then put it on the wall. I just put it on the wall. Like I literally leave the TV in the bottom part of the box, like the little, you know, styrofoam piece. You know, if I kind of normally I put it up near a wall and put like a pillow between it so it doesn't tip. And then I put the mount right there on the back of it. And then literally we just lift it out and throw it, because you just have to measure from the bottom of the TV to where the mount connects to get your measurements. So you shouldn't need to take it out. And it's kind of a pain in the ass to get those feet on. So trying to get those A90J feet on and then take them back off, and you have to like balance the TV while you're taking the feet off, it's all a pain in the butt. So unless you're going to keep that on a stand for a while, there's no reason to put the feet on. No.
Great advice. Let us know how it goes, Kripke. Or what did you do? And is it YouTube worthy if it was a fail?
Oh, yeah, for sure. If you guys drop it, for sure, send me that video. Give you $100.
We'll highlight it.
I'll give you $100 of that 6,000 that you lost.
Hey, Benvito, thanks for the super chat. Can you please tell me the best 4K TV I can buy now that's not an OLED? I already have an OLED. I need TV in my living room. So best 4K TV,
what size
not
TV?
An OLED, I have to say would have to be either the QN95B from Samsung, and assuming a large size, QN95B, QN900B, or the Sony X95K. Those are our top 3 non-OLED TVs 4K. I'm sorry, Q900B is an 8K. So QN95B, QN90B, or the Sony X95K. Those are the top 3 non-OLED 4K TVs currently out. And all 3 of them come in sizes from 65-inch on up. If you need a smaller size, you'd have to go with the QN90B or 95B. I think they come in a 50-inch, maybe even smaller than the 95 on the 90B. But for sure, the Samsung or Sony flagship 4K TVs, phenomenal. I'd be happy with those TVs actually. So yeah, let us know what you get, Bimbedo.
Let me put this up real quick. This is funny. Brandon, your dad is missing out. The Masters looked outstanding on an OLED. I know, man. I'm trying to tell him. You know how hard it is for someone that reviews TVs to like let their dad have a crappy TV.
You know what you could tell him? Dad, the contrast, the white ball against the green grass on the S95B, boom. You can see it, and the motion blur. You can see that white ball with the motion resolution, and you put on black frame insertion. You're not going to miss that ball flying around.
But then again, the problem is I'm this. That's the same. That would be coming from the same guy who watches like all of my own content on my phone versus the TVs. You know what? I gotta say before we go on, I mean, we got to get on the chats here. How cool is it that all the phones we have, right? Like this OLED phone right here, right? I can put YouTube TV on here, and I can like move it around the little square, and these phones are amazing. You know, like you can, the fact that you can touch screen this and move like a little, like a split screen it and have like you know, YouTube TV on one side, chats on the other side. I mean, that's why these phones are $1,500, but they're pretty damn exciting. For $1,500, these phones do a lot more than they get credit for, you know. Yeah, I don't know where we left off there.
I'm just going to jump here real quick.
Oh yeah, man, go ahead.
This is such a good question. What display will have the accuracy of the Sony Master Series A95K QD-OLED with the gaming features of the S95B and an LG OLED? Everybody wants the perfect TV. Is all I can say. If you get the S95B calibrated, I guarantee you it'll get closer than any non-calibrated TV you get out of the box, including the A95K. It just might not be that last % or 2. So get the S95B, get it calibrated. I think you will be thrilled. But what do I know? That's my, because I think gaming features, since it's important to you, the S95B is so good that what you may lose a little bit in color accuracy is well worth it. And the A95K, if it has VRR working out of the box,
I mean, you know, no TV is perfect, like you said. And honestly, I guarantee you people are going to find things to complain about the Sony too. So, you know, but I mean, is Sony the perfect combination of Samsung and LG? Like, I don't know how you even say that, you know, who knows? Yeah. Who knows?
And for those who are getting a Sony OLED with the XR processor, VRR is working, 4K 120 is working. No, it doesn't have the game optimizer. And it's not the last word in input lag. I mean, you guys know who you are, right? Get yourself the 42-inch, the 48-inch LG C2s. But the Sony OLEDs, A80J, A90J, and this year's A90K, A80K, A95K, fine for console gaming, PC gaming. It has VR working, 4K 120 works. It only has 2 inputs, though. I understand that might be an issue for some of you, but most people get a switcher. The switchers are fine now. I think they've been tested with 4K 120 VRR, so I'm okay with it. Hey, thanks for that, Tech. Did you hit that like button in addition to give us that super chat, KG?
I was telling people and I didn't even hit it myself. So
I know, right?
I watch it on the right side of the screen. I watch it on my Be the Installer profile. On the left side of the screen, I'm on the pass the remote one. So then I can always watch it, you know. And I technically could get on my Be the Consumer channel and watch it on that one.
You know what? I need to click like, right?
Click the like button if you can, guys. Appreciate it.
Hey, S'more, thanks for the super chat. I have a 55-inch LG OLED 1080p TV. Ooh, old school. Should I upgrade to the S95B 65-inch or A80J 77-inch? He's sitting almost 10 feet. This is such a good one because coming from an OLED, so they're used to great blacks. S95B will be a definite improvement, but the A80J is larger and is going to be brighter than the older OLED. What do you think? He knows OLED, Brandon. But 10 feet away.
I mean, again, it's like I already said that the C2 was better. I mean, I think the A80J is as good as any of the LG OLEDs. So I would, I mean, absolutely get a 77-inch if you are just like, I'm going to be happy enough with a 65-inch, I think the Samsung is better. But if my clients typically, when they're upgrading to a TV, they know what size TV they want, give or take. So your sitting distance is 8 to 10 feet. What does your entertainment center look like? Is this TV going to be way bigger than your entertainment center? And then you're going to have to get a new entertainment center, or is it going to be covering the windows on each side of your living room? Like, you know, those kind of like metrics measure. Do you have, if you have 65, 66 inches of like horizontal space, you get a 77-inch, you know, get the 880J. It's bigger, dude.
And either way, if you go 55 to 65, it's bigger. So for sure, you're happy.
Yeah.
If you go to 77, it might be, whoa. And I think the size will give you more of that, whoa, right? So, but if you're looking A80J 77, the price on that, I'll tell you this, the 77-inch C2 by Black Friday will be very close to the A80J. I'd wait until Black Friday and get the C2 and get that extra brightness, because the C2 77 is going to be a touch brighter than the A80J. But, you know, something to think about if you could wait.
We got to get caught up on some of those super chats. They're going to go pretty fast.
Wait. Here, let's get caught up.
Good.
Hey, Rick the Brick. Thank you for the super chat. Hey, FOMO, keep up the good work. Thank you. S95 is lacking Dolby Vision. Oh, I love this discussion. Is it important to have this feature on your future premium TV for movies and content? The answer is not really. So Dolby Vision, the way it's graded right now, it does not add anything more if you have a premium TV, because your premium TV's tone mapping is so good that it will be able, S95B, it will be able to bring down HDR10 to the same level as if another TV, LG, G2, C2 with Dolby Vision can do with Dolby Vision. I've done head-to-heads on the Spears and Muscle content, A90J and G2 and the S95B with Dolby Vision, without Dolby Vision, all combinations. And what happens is this: if you do Dolby Vision 10,000 nits, all it does is bring it down to what the TV can handle. And the S95B, well, it can handle a lot more, so it looks brighter and punchier. Doesn't matter. I would still prefer the HDR10 on the S95B. Now, if you watch Dolby Vision with what the TV can handle, it looks exactly the same. So basically, Dolby Vision, whether it's 10,000 nits or lower, it just makes everything look the same, because that's the purpose of Dolby Vision, is to give you the creator's intent. And the S95B will take the HDR10 and do the exact same thing. That whatever the creator intended in HDR10, you're going to get it. There may be subtle differences in color grading between the two. I will give that. But as we spoke before, if it's a bright sun, boom, the Dolby Vision one will have a touch more yellow gradient. The other one will have a bit bright spot, like in the center. May not have the same gradient, but it'll go a little bit brighter. What do you prefer, Rick? It is not one is better than the other, but what you prefer. I find it so close, it's unimportant. And Dolby Vision in lower end TVs is the worst. If you're going to get Dolby Vision, you have to get a TV that's over $1,000.
Yeah.
Under $1,000 and Dolby Vision now is just too dim. Especially
well, that's the thing.
If it's a Sony, then it's really dim. Then you go Sony Bright, and it's completely inaccurate.
So if Dolby Vision is like offering metadata on color and all this tone mapping and stuff, if your TV sucks, it can't do anything with it anyways. I mean, it's just basically like, and I think I see further down Hammer is saying that Dolby Vision is merely wetting its beak on 10-bit content. Like, yes, Dolby Vision is probably going to be a more industry standard. I don't know currently if like color graders and people are making the movies with one in mind while they're doing it. But it's just data that's coming in, you know, it's data metadata that can be used to make the color and the tone mapping different or whatever. But yeah, I don't think it does enough right now to really warrant an issue. You know, I don't see any difference, to be honest.
And remember this, Sony and Dolby Vision do not mix. Sony Dolby Vision Dark is a bit too dim, but it's most color accurate. Sony Bright, you lose gradients, but it's super bright. So Sony's like, whatever, we'll do Dolby Vision our way. LG's Dolby Vision is the most accurate, but what does that mean then? Sony has Dolby Vision and it's pointless, right? I would disable Dolby Vision on the Sony unless it's disc Dolby Vision, but even then, you're going to notice Dolby Vision Dark does appear darker than LG's Cinema Dolby Vision. who's right? And it's not even worth discussing the fact that that exists. So just something to think about. It's not an issue. I don't think it should determine what TV you buy. Everything else is more important. The number of dimming zones, the accuracy, the brightness, all of that comes before Dolby Vision. And at the end, everything else being equal, your gaming features, the stand on the foot, right? The remote control, if all of that is equal, okay, now you go with Dolby Vision. But that should be nowhere on the top 5 of list of things you should look at. Hey, Sean, thanks for another super chat. I have decided to wait for the Z9K release and your QN90B comparison expert reviews. Wait for the shootout, Sean. Thank you. We will have an 8K shootout on July 10, right after the 4K shootout. Z9K will be there, QN90B, and yes, we will use specifically challenging content to push both TV to their limits so you can see for yourself, what do they do? What's better for your use case? I'm excited too. And 85-inch. I think we'll have 75-inch for sure. I don't know if we can get to the 85 because we have to fit all of them in the same room, but we'll see. And installer, hope you can get a hold of the 85 inches soon. Hey, that's a good question. Brandon, you planning to get any of these?
I mean, honestly, the Z9K and probably the QN900B would likely have to come from the company. So as soon as they could do it, we'll have to see. I can't like guarantee that I can buy every single 85-inch TV this year. I mean, they're so expensive. There was a sweet spot last year where I could have gotten the 85-inch QN900A right before Black Friday. It was on sale and then it sold out, and it was like sold out forever. But it was like, remember, it was like $5,000 for a while, and it was that's when I should have got it. So I will be doing some crazy videos towards Black Friday, so we'll probably get them in at some point.
Looking forward to it. Oh yeah, we should have fun Black Friday for sure.
Yeah, we got to do more videos. I got to do more videos. I basically took off the busiest time because we were on vacation and stuff. So I got to stop doing it. I got to edit here now. So
yeah, enjoy your
now. It's like I'm paying this dude to be here. I got to have content for him to edit. He's a good guy.
This is a good question. Upscaling SDR content, is Sony still king? I don't think so. I think Sony is still very good, but I believe having the G2 here and comparing the A90J, I honestly prefer this G2 now in upscaling just various content. I thought the G2 looked phenomenal. So maybe in the past, and maybe even lower than SDR, like we're talking 480p maybe, but just SDR in general, I think the G2 does a phenomenal job. I would not make this the decision maker, the big difference, but I didn't test it on cable, right? That's the big issue. Is a lot of people complain how bad cable box resolution upscaling is, and the Sony continues to be the best in that, but not having a cable box myself, can't verify. I'm just telling you what I hear. Hey, can you compare? Thank you, Keith Jordan, for that super chat. Can you compare the G2 and Z9K and 85-inch? Wow, two completely different TVs. The G2 and 85K and the 65-inch. How about the Series X and PS5 on both? Also, if you like the Sony, would you use it for the center with the HTA9? So the last one we could answer safely, no. Don't.
The A95K maybe, but not the Z9K.
Yeah,
well, I don't really like it.
We'll get to the HTA9 at the end. G2 Z9K. The Z9K is designed to be a super bright TV in a super bright room to give you that same HDR effect in a bright room. The G2 is to give you that HDR effect in a moderately lit to super dark room. If your room is super dark, the G2 hands down amazing. If your room is super bright, the Z9K will give you that HDR impact more so than the G2 because it can get brighter APL, specular highlights, right? So two different use cases. And the G2 and A95K, yes, we'll be comparing that. So we'll let you know, don't know yet. Series X and PS5 on both. That'll be interesting. We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see how the BF5 works on the A95K for sure. Okay, HTA9. If you like the Sony, would you use it as a center? What is your feeling using the Sony's equipped with that center feature with the HTA9? I personally did not like it. I thought the sound was too screechy. It elevated the highs, and there was no equalizer that allowed me to fix that. So I turned my center channel off with the HTA9 on the A90J.
Yeah, I don't like using the TVs as a center channel. I feel like it can't compete with the other speakers. So then your center channel lacks and you can't hear the volume of the center voice as good. I don't think it'll be good on the mini LED TVs either, because their speakers are even worse. I wish they'd make like a fifth speaker, honestly. And I actually like the A7000 soundbar with the rears and the sub better because it has pretty great even sound, but then you can add the center channel of the TV and it complements the sound bar. It's not just like all or nothing. It has, it adds to the sound bar. So the sound bar is still the center, but now the TV is also a higher center. And so it like makes it sound really cool. I have the A7000 in my bedroom and I love it. It's awesome. It's a lot better than my Sonos Arc. Yeah.
I do like that. Well, the A7000 has more power. It's large. It's
great.
It fills a room very well.
It's really good. And I think I probably would just get a G2, to be honest, an 85-inch. I don't think I could go mini LED. I don't care how good the mini LED is. I'm an OLED guy at this point. I'm trying to like review LCD TVs, and I just immediately I immediately look for blooming and downsides. So that's just my thing. So hope that helps, Keith.
Hey, Francisco, thanks for the super chat, my friend. Hello, I'm upgrading my 55-inch EF9500, but I hit a big break. I don't know if I should get X95K mini LED or the 65-inch A95K. It's for my basement, 10 inches. 10 inches of viewing distance like this. I'm assuming you mean 10 feet. If it's 10 feet, the X95K goes larger. So if it's only 10 inches, I'd go with the A95K, obviously, right? But if it's 10 feet, then the X95K at 85 inches, I would go with that one, because 10 feet is quite a distance, and 85 inches, in my opinion, is just barely enough. I mean, I'd go 100 inches if there was such a thing. The X92J comes to 100 inches, but it's like over 10 grand. So the X95K at 85 inches will be a good enough TV, no doubt. And the size is very impactful. What are your thoughts with his decision, Brandon?
Boom. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Same size? I mean,
same size. Yeah. See, that's the thing is, but
if you're good, I'm saying if you're going to get a 65-inch X95K, I guarantee it's not going to be as good as the A95K. Like, there's no way.
No way.
I mean, it could be the best it could be like literally the best LCD ever, and it's still going to be marginally questionable if it's as good as that.
Yeah.
The QD-OLED is that good. It is. And I would imagine that the A95K will be, I mean, A90J was like, oh, it's going to be the best OLED ever. And it was. And now the A95K, is it going to be the best It's the first year, but I don't know. I haven't liked an X90 anything yet to the point, but I know Brian has liked the X95K mini LED TV. I just couldn't buy a mini LED over an OLED, especially a QD-OLED.
Oh, he's seen the blooming. I mean, it's better, and it has better specular highlights than the 90A, but there's still some blooming. And to your point, 65-inch, I too would get the A95K. Yeah. If you're going larger,
if you get like a 75, then maybe
85, and I'd go 85. I wouldn't even go 70. At 75, I'd still go with a 65 because the differences are that much. 77 G2, on the other hand, maybe. Hey, Sean, thank you for the super chat. Man, these guys, he's really ready to buy the QN90B. QN90B is $8,500 in America. QN90B in India, when converted to dollars, is $14,000, dude. Oh my gosh. Same with the Z9K and the Q900A. Why such expensive difference? It is your government, my friend. It's called tariffs and taxes, import duties. You don't see it, but there are huge tariffs at the front end before even it gets into the country. That is why, because technically India is closer to China, right? It's not as bad with all the shipping and stuff. However, it's like when I was living abroad, we had this Toyota. I guess the equivalent is like an Avalon in the US, but it's like a Crown in Asia. And dude, that car was almost as expensive. Well, it was as expensive as a Mercedes in the US. My dad was telling me, yeah, if you convert, it's like $85,000. So it's a Toyota, slightly larger than or about the size of an Avalon, and it was like almost 85 grand. So, and this was in Indonesia back in the late 80s or so. So yeah, when you're in some of these countries, the tariffs, they hit you hard. Import duties and all that. Give your president or prime minister or premier a call.
Yeah.
Francisco Diaz, thank you for the super chat. Price is not an issue. Also, it's going to be paired with a Sony Soundbar A7000. That system is amazing. Oh my God. I love it. I love when people say price is not an issue. It just opens up everything.
Yeah.
I am very into movies, streaming, and for SDR, no gaming because I have monitors for that since I'm a PC gamer.
Well,
Right.
I would definitely get the A95K now because the A95K has the acoustic surface speakers, whereas the X95K, they have similar speakers, but it's not going to be as good.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're going to use the mini LED as the addition to the A90 or A7000, it's not going to sound as good as if you use the A95K. So I already leaned that way, and now I would say get a larger, but then again, I would also say, well, if you have that kind of money, then maybe wait till next year so you can get the larger TV. You know?
Right. Now, let's assume that 65 inches is the size you want for whatever reason, right? Remember, it's a Master Series. So you're going to get this remote control that's amazing, as well as the build quality. Everything is elevated in Master Series. The sound in the TV, Sony puts a lot of effort into the whole package for their Master Series. And I think that alone is what you're paying into. So clearly, if price is no object, buy the entire package, get the Master Series, because you do get some intangibles that really you want that extra polish that you get with a Master Series. So yeah, just for that, I'd go with the A95K too. You have experience with returns on Amazon?
Yeah, I do. I can give you my.
Yeah, tell us. If I look through these comments,
it's not good. It's not good. Don't buy things off Amazon, especially TVs that you need to return, because they are a pain in the ass, man.
Why?
Yeah.
What is happening?
Well, here's what happened to me. I returned one TV ever. No, I've returned 2 TVs now ever on Amazon out of probably 5,000 purchases. But I forgot that I kind of went through this phase where I returned a couple lenses because for my cameras, I bought a couple Tamron lenses and I bought like a Ronakin lens or whatever. And I was like, oh, I don't want this lens, or a Samyang. So I returned like 3. So I returned like 3 different lenses, and then I returned a TV, and Amazon closed my account.
Oh, wait, when was
and
that?
I'm like, what?
This is recent, right?
Yeah, it just happened like last week or 2 weeks ago.
Oh my
They
God.
closed my account. So first of all, I got my account back open. It was like some stupid like auto trigger type thing where like if you have a bunch of returns, and because I return, you return things on Amazon all the time because you have, you're like,
I do.
I even buy 3 things and know I'm going to return 2 of them. So it's like, well, so I don't know if that's just, if it was a larger purchase, maybe that's why. But the thing is you also have to get it freight shipped. So then you either have to take your TV or whatever back into like a UPS, or they have to come pick it up. And so in both instances, like I said, I've only returned 2 TVs ever. Both time it's been a nightmare to get refunded. It takes them forever to get them. This most recent one, the company like XPO or whatever it was called, the TV, the only thing it ever had on the tracking was that they picked it up from my house. And then like 2 weeks went by and they just finally refunded me because the logistics are not as good as with other Amazon returns. You don't get your money back quickly. It takes a while. It takes, I would document, take pictures, get tracking numbers, get on them, call Amazon and say, yo, when's this going to refund and all that. Cause it's not like you're just returning a smaller thing. So yeah.
Hey, Tech, man, thanks for your continued support, my friend.
Oh, sorry. I forgot to, sorry, my bad. Go ahead. Hit the like button. Sorry, guys. The other thing I was going to say is also when they closed my account, all of our Amazon Alexa crap in our entire house stopped working. So none of our lights would turn on. I couldn't, my Amazon Music account got shut off.
Okay, so, right there,
boom.
That is the Matrix right there.
Yeah, I mean, like, think about it. You walk in your house and none of your lights work because everything is Amazon.
Bro, Brandon, what if you're using the Amazon Run doorbells, Amazon Run door locks, Amazon Run climate control?
Exactly.
Wait a minute. It's like
everything stopped. And I have a Ring doorbell, but I don't have it at this house. I put up that Eufy one that doesn't work.
Right.
They sent me and told me to hype it up, and I did, and it worked for a bit, but now it doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah, anyway. I'm a Nest guy, and not to say Google's any better, by the way. They can shut you out.
Yeah.
But you have to choose an ecosystem.
You get banned like Quantum TV, and then you won't be able to use your
not do anything, right?
Just kidding.
Hey, Ivan, thank you for the super chat. When are you coming to Portugal? I've been wanting to visit Portugal, and I hear a lot of Californians are moving to Portugal. It's like the new retirement spot for, I guess, the Hollywood elite, which I am not part of. So I don't think I could afford going to Portugal anymore now that Californians have gotten there. It's like the new Austin in Europe, I guess. Okay, Q90B versus S95B. I'd have to go with the S95B for many reasons that you already know. But there is a use case for the Q90B. It's just not my use case, but Q90B anti-glare, S95B doesn't have the same anti-glare coating. If you're in a super bright room and you need that high APL, we're talking lots of sports, bright, you want it running not vivid, but standard mode, and you need that brightness all the time, Q90B will do it better than S95B. Movies and streaming, S95B all day long. Okay, this is a good question. Do you guys split the super chat money evenly, or does FOMO take more? I'll tell you right now, I haven't taken a dime. You know why? Because when I meet up with Brandon, dude, steaks on you, lobsters on you, and that's how it works, right? We're gonna go to New York, and drinks are on you. So at the end, it evens out. So
we split this is our split channel. Right now we got to do some accounting. I think I definitely have more than half, but you know.
Yeah, it really is for you guys. We had to start this. So the genesis of this channel is we used to do separate live streams on our own channels, and it really makes it hard for us to do our non-live stream stuff because it kind of dilutes our content. And we end up covering the same thing anyway. So you know what? Let's just do it together, and makes it easier for us to organize our channel. And we enjoy being on the same chat because we end up being on each other's chat anyway. So
yeah,
live stream. So
and FOMO still does some good. You do some good live streams on yours, but I don't I feel like I definitely don't have as much to do on live stream by myself, and it's like I just don't want to put them on mine because I definitely think that there is something to live streams kind of like clouding up your content so that like you guys won't see a lot of my other videos because they'll push the live streams that you may not want to see, or a lot of other people don't want to see live streams, and then they're getting fed like 2-hour videos like this, and they're like, I don't even want to talk to this guy because his videos are all 2 hours long, you know.
Right. And then they unsubscribe, God forbid.
Or 7.5 hours long if you're classic.
Oh, I had that 5 hours C2G.
Yeah, you guys are
right.
I mean, I did the one on Prime Day that was like 11 hours, but still, it's like
it took us 2 days to recover.
Yeah, dude, it really did.
Gary, thanks for the super chat. Looking for 83 inches or larger for a bright room during daytime. Sony A90J, I'd say X95K. If you're talking bright room daytime with all the windows around you, G2 will be brighter than A90J. So it's down to the G2 and the X95K. I'd say ask Classy. Classy has the 83-inch G2. Are you planning to get the 83-inch G2, Brandon? I forgot to ask you that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
and that'll probably be my next large TV. Yeah.
There you go. Wait for the review. Back into the X95K. APL will be brighter than all of them. Although the blacks won't be as good, but it will get brighter, like the whole screen for sports. Basketball, right? You got the hardwood floor that's super bright. On the X95K, watching NBA, everything is bright. It's lit up and it will stay lit up. Hockey stays lit up. However, dirty screen effect. But then you have dirty screen effect, right? Is it going to be visible in the X95K? G2 is cleaner. OLED, naturally, the way it's manufactured, will have cleaner non-DSE. So tell us your content, because bright room and sports, X95K is a natural match, in my opinion. But you might have dirty screen effect you have to deal with. So
I gotta leave in about 10 or 15 here.
All right. So we'll hit the 2-hour mark and we'll be done. Hear that, guys? 15-minute last call. Benvito, thank you for the super chat. I have the LG C10 in my room. I love it. My question is it worth it to upgrade now? Keep in mind, I really love my C10 and giving it all I need and more. Dude, hold on to it. I would never upgrade a TV that I didn't have to. I'm in a bigger room. I need a bigger TV. I'm sitting farther away, of course. But if you're not changes in your life where you need a bigger TV or a brighter TV because suddenly you have Windows installed and you're like, oh my gosh, I can barely see the TV now. If that's not the issue, watch us enjoy the new technology, and then when it's time, at some point that C10 will fail, you're going to love the upgrade.
Here, real quick. TechMed, adios, bud. He's going Sleepy Town in
Good night,
Germany.
TechMed. Thanks for joining us, buddy. Hopefully we kept you company. One day I'll pick up enough German. Hey, Francisco, bad typo. 10 feet.
Yeah.
So 10 feet, I'd go with a larger TV.
We knew it was 10 feet.
65-inch, what are your thoughts? Okay, this is crazy. Back when I was a kid, 32-inch TV, 12 feet away, and I thought I was living the good life as a kid. 32-inch TV.
You were, dude.
Right?
We had like a 27-inch, and we watched it from our dining room table that was like 30 feet away.
Yeah, exactly. You know? So I am so spoiled, and here I am telling people to get large 65-inch, larger, right? But hey, it's available. Why not? All right. Oh, more super chats. I'm sorry, we're taking a little bit long. We're enjoying this way too much. PH Gamer, thank you for the super chat. That's why I rip my movies and music for Plex. I'm a fan of Plex too. So I don't rely on cloud streaming should something happen. Yeah, you know, Plex and the whole Zapd thing, right? There are a lot of digital solutions that I think it's the convenience of Netflix and their unique content, and that's why they're doing that. Netflix doesn't want to compete with Plex, so they create Netflix originals, right? The Bridgertons or any list of these unique movies that's Netflix only or Disney Plus only. So for most mainstream movies, yeah, absolutely. But sometimes it's a Netflix original. What do you do there?
I think that was the last one.
Was that? Oh, okay. Then let's hit this one. This is one of the weaknesses of the S95B. And you may or may not see this. I have the S95B. I sent it back because it's showing color fringe artifacts. Some would say you don't see it from a certain distance. My 65-inch distance, almost 3 meters, I see it. So for those of you who don't know, color fringing is a result of the S95B's pen-tile structure, where instead of the RGB being like right here, close together, tight, it's farther apart. And my theory, as well as many people's theories, the reason they have to put it farther apart is to keep the blue from leaking, because it is using blue backlight. But by separating them like that, the colors, when you have white against black, the black and the white border, on the white side of that border, you have chromatic aberrations. It's almost like a slight red, green rainbow that's a couple of pixels over. Because the white is so bright, you'll be able to see it if you're sensitive to it, but it's unique to content like that. So if you watch content or you're gaming or you're on the monitor, you might see that, right? Like right here, this super chat box right here, where the black meets the white. If it's on the S95B and this white is, let's say, 1,000 nits, 800 nits, you might see color fringing. But if the white is SDR, you might not, because it doesn't get so bright. So some people are bothered by it. I'm not, because I watch content, movies that don't have it. So Joker, share with us, where do you see it? What movies? What's your use case? The biggest, I think, complaint is for computer users who constantly see bright white text or black text on white, and that's when you really see it.
I think I know what they're talking about. I like a little purple around the edge. I didn't notice anything. I didn't really care.
Yeah. And I don't use it as a monitor, so
yeah.
And that's why Samsung actually addressed it. They said, we designed this to be the ultimate move. You're watching TV, and that's kind of where they ended it. So if you take it out of that use case, yeah, you're going to have weaknesses. Just like if you take the Sony out of its use case and start forcing it to play high-end PC gaming, what do you expect, right? Or you take the TV, can only be designed for certain things, right? And everything else will be a compromise. So choose the TV that fits your use case.
Hey, I wanted to just mention this. He's talking about having a bunch of people on, like something like this to compare 8Ks. I would say the shootout that we're going to be doing, I think this year, FOMO and I and Shane and Brian or whoever, I think we're going to brainstorm and figure out if there's a way that like at some point during those live streams, we can like go around and each give our opinion about what we see.
This is great. So this is what we're going to do. I'm glad you asked this. I've been brainstorming with Brian. Here is our solution. We're going to have a separate table where 2 of us or 3 of us or 4 of us will sit, and we'll have a separate camera feeding concurrently into Brian's channel, where we bring in experts, including ourselves, observing. So on Shane's channel, you have the uncut footage of the TVs. And then concurrent with that, I guess a simulcast will have judges, people coming by, sitting them down and say, hey, what about this scene, this and that? Do you see this issue? So we'll call out as we see it, and whoever is free will sit down, like, I'm going to go and do a bio break, and you're going to be sitting there with Brandon and Brian and so forth. So it will run concurrently. And that way we will always have chatter, and we will look at your chat. So if you have any questions specifically, hey, can you guys check out this on the QN90B? I noticed this on the YouTube. What do you think? And then I'll say, hey, Brandon, can you check that? He'll run off and do that. And we'll ask another one, hey, so this will be a lot more interactive than just chat, because we'll have a dedicated camera and chat just for that. So we can interact with you guys. But it would just be us. And then on Shane's, you can watch and see everything in the full screen. That way, we're not trying to compress everything into a tiny screen with people and everything, because that doesn't do it justice. So hopefully, and then you can have a separate one on Shane to throw out the comments, hey, move the camera over, because sometimes it's like a giant head in the way, and we don't realize there's a head in the way, right? Hey, tell the guy to get out of the way, right? So it'll be
no more super chats. Don't stop sending us super chats, because we got to go.
I
really appreciate him, of course. He said a pleasure with both of you. It's 2:30 in the AM in India. Thanks a lot, Sean. I hope we answer your stuff. Appreciate you having you on here. It's really cool, man. Then we had this one here: CRT tech ever return, motion and aliasing unmatched. Yeah,
it's too expensive. It's more expensive to build a CRT today than it would be to build a LCD TV. Vacuum tube, come on. Tubes are expensive, right? If you guys in the audio world, it's too expensive.
They're too heavy, man. I don't want an 83-inch. An 83-inch CRT TV would be like 1,000 pounds, dude.
Hey, you're an installer. How many flat panels can you fit in a truck versus how many CRTs, right? It's like 5 CRTs and like 20 flat panels.
It brings back nightmares. I tried to put connections in the back of a CRT once, and I pushed it off of a table and it fell straight in its face. But they're like indestructible, so of course it didn't damage it. They're like, So anyways, but yeah, I think that's good. I appreciate everyone stopping by, and hope you guys had a good day. Have a good rest of your weekend. Make sure you guys tell your moms you love them. It's Mother's Day tomorrow.
If we didn't get to your question and you're holding off on your super chat, there's always next time. And sometimes Brandon or I will be on the other channels with KG or Classy, whatever. So we all know the same thing, right? We share our information. So thank you so much, everyone.
No tickets to the shootout. I think you got to be invited, man. I don't know.
Spillage. Robert has said just email him. It's if the surge doesn't go crazy in New York City, we have this new variant or whatever. So if New York City or New York doesn't care about the new variant and they allow Robert to invite the public, people can attend, but it's always first come, first serve. So go ahead and email Robert at Value Electronics and let him know, and he'll give you an update. Good question.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a good afternoon.
Until next time, pass the remote.